Batchelor, it's Adam here. I'm back in Melbourne now where it's about 17 degrees and it's been a bit showery today, so I'm missing you all very much for more than one reason. So this video today is just a quick explanation, a quick refresher and reminder about what we worked through when we were last together, and it also includes some other bits and pieces as well. So I want you to have a really close look at the way that you work together, and also at the end of this video you'll find those 15-second practice commitments that you made at the end of the day as a reminder of what you need to do personally to get the ball rolling. So just as a reminder of what we did when we were working together last week, the first part of the day was very much about refreshing the way that we look at our practice through that restorative lens. So it was really about, are you thinking restoratively, and are you able to look at your practice with real honesty and say, you know what, this is the best stuff that I've got available to me. Some of the ways that we do that is to start to make commitments around using those restorative questions and using them more regularly. Now remember that the primary function of those restorative questions is to take any conversation from past to present to future. The more serious the conversation, the more scripted, the more structured, and also the longer the length of time you'll have to invest. But what we agreed upon is when you're trying to change culture, it's really about the informal end, where those thousands and perhaps even hundreds of thousands of interactions occur, where we've got the greatest opportunity to not only change culture but to actually use those restorative questions in a really efficient way. And so it's really important to remember that they just take you from past to present to future, and that you can use any of those questioning or counselling techniques that you have at your avail to do that. You don't have to stick entirely to those questions. The second thing we did was we looked really hard at those operating domains. So we had a really close look at what sort of teacher we are. Are we a not teacher, where we've got low expectations and low levels of support for the students? We're low on the firm and low on the fair. And like I said, that happens really rarely, but we need to have our eyes open to the fact it does happen. And that not box I often refer to as being Fiji. You can go for a holiday, but you can't stay there. So it's short trips only when you're talking about that place, and it's just for your own sanity or well-being. Are you a two teacher? That means, are you someone who has the firmness in place but not the fairness? And if we do that, we find ourselves reacting really punitively, and if we do it regularly, we can do it in a really stigmatising and damaging way. As I have admitted to you, when I'm under duress and when I lose a little bit of focus around my teaching, I default to the two box. And it's important that I know that, because regardless of whether I slip to the two box or whether I actually am forced to the two box by a student doing something dangerous or completely unacceptable, it is my role to map my way back and to make sure that I close the loop on that behaviour by bringing that student back to the with box with me. Am I in the four box, where I'm really big on making sure that there's lots of support in place for the students, but perhaps the expectations aren't as clear and aren't as enforced as they should be? And we know that when we're in that box, we're a bit permissive and we're a bit easy and undemanding of our students. And that's actually not where the great relationships are built. And we sometimes think that by being nice to people, we're building relationships, but it's those relationships that enable us and challenge us, and not those relationships where somebody's there to do everything for us and hold their hand for us, that we truly invest in and we truly actually improve our performance through. And then it's looking at that with box and how we can have firm and fair at high levels and not compromising one for the other, because we know in that position we're very authoritative because of your practice, and you're very respectful, and that means that you're building respect, you're modelling respect, and you're demonstrating for your students how they need to build respect also and how they can earn it. We then throughout the day looked at the restorative continuum. So we had a really good look at what it means at the informal end, where we've got those affective statements, where it's as simple as we're not even looking for a response then, we're just looking to chuck in a feeling, if you will. We looked at effective interactions, where we're talking about how we can build those really brief but meaningful conversations one-on-one with students, where we need to actually intervene because perhaps their behaviour has been interfering with your instruction. You just want to have that conversation. If I can encourage you to have a quick chat with Nairi about what happened in her classroom when we had, and what changed when we inserted an affective interaction rather than just trying to work as a whole group constantly, and it really had a really interesting impact on that classroom when we did that. We had a look at small impromptu conferences, so groups of kids that are experiencing difficulty or groups of kids that are causing some sort of harm. We looked at circles, and I can't encourage you more strongly enough that the way you get better at circles is to do them. I think that one of the reasons they call it restorative practice is that because you get better at it through practice. So don't wait for those opportunities to run a circle, structure them into your timetable, do them informally, do them every now and then to make sure that they're a regular part of the way you do your business, and the students will very much get used to that. Then we looked at that formal conferencing concept as well at the very formal end, which is how you need to be there, and we need to have a plan for how we're going to go about it when those really serious incidents, such as those that might require a suspension, and which is a suspension is very much a two action, and then through that restorative conference you're very much able to have a mechanism through which you can bring the situation back over to the with box as much as you can. So that's some of the content from the day, but you know what, the things that you can see on the screen now are far more important than any of the content that I presented on the day or any of the work that we did, to be honest. It's about you guys immersing in conversations about practice, and it's about you being able to reflect honestly in those conversations. So I can't encourage you more strongly enough than to talk to Ryan and talk to Patrina about how you're going to make sure that over time you're structuring to have those conversations where you can be reflectful, but you can be really honest, and you can also challenge and provoke each other to improve your practice, because it's only through that collective improvement in practice that you're really going to get a change or a significant and sustained improvement in student behaviour. So I just wanted to say thanks again for having me. I love partnering with your school. I love the fact that you let me present to you in thongs, understanding that Qantas didn't quite take care of my bags the way we wanted. And the end of this video though, guys, is those 15-second video commitments, and I want to encourage you really strongly to live up to those commitments. If you're looking at this video a few months after our professional learning and in-class support day, then it's time to check in on yourself and say, have I done what I said I'm going to do? And if you have, fantastic. If you haven't, it's not time to throw the hands in the air and walk away, but it's time to recommit and to say, okay, what am I going to do to make sure that this is back on the agenda and that I'm contributing to what can be a really meaningful relational culture for your school. And as we said, not only for your school but for your community. You have great opportunity being an isolated community to get some traction around restorative practices, but it's going to take your commitment. Good luck. I'm really looking forward to staying in touch with you. Here's those 15-second video commitments, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye for now.
As a school counsellor, I can be involved in the formal conferencing role, supporting families and students and schools in that process.
What am I going to do tomorrow? I'm going to have more intention, more clear intentions in my teaching, more innovation in my teaching, and probably use the circles a lot more at the end of a lesson, because I like to use the circles at the beginning of the lesson. It's good to use them at the end of the lesson to check out where have we gone, where do we need to go next lesson.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use more check-in circles during my home group in the mornings every day, so that I know where the kids are coming from, what day they've had, and maybe predict any future problems for the day, and just know what their headspace is first thing in the morning.
I'm going to use the circle time a lot more than I have done. It's up to now it's been more sort of reactionary circles in response to situations that have arisen, but I'm going to do how are you doing on a daily basis, and check in, check out, certainly at the beginning of the end of the week, if not daily.
What am I going to do? Well, I like the idea of past, present, future questioning, and for creating accountability and a change of behaviour. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on.
Do my best to develop cooperation and cohesiveness within the Year 8 group. Try to improve their self-esteem and resilience so they're willing to have a go.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a bank of effective statements with feelings and strategies so that I can implement the restorative justice program with confidence.
I'm going to try and utilise more effective statements. Is that what they're called? Yeah, okay, good.
I'm going to be better at wait time, not only in regards to my questioning, but in regards to my behaviour management. When working with small groups, I always answer for them, and I always cut them off before they get the chance to actually stop and think. So I'm going to stop, allow myself 7 seconds, and allow them 7 seconds to answer the question.
Now remind the teachers and students about doing the right thing. Restorative justice.
I am going to be more forgiving, more creative, more demanding academically, and less reactive.
Well, this week, because I'm only here for a week, I would like to try and use circle time as effectively as I can in a variety of different ways.
Understanding the antecedents to bad behaviour of a student and strengthen meaningful relationships.
What am I going to do? Well, I am going to get the kids to set their own learning goals, so I'm going to do that first thing. I'm going to try to use more effective statements in the playground, and particularly with the senior school, not so much with middle school. I think I do it with middle school, but not with senior school. And then work on consistency of the restorative practices, particularly with my grade 8s.
I'm going to focus on the past, present and future aspect. So I guess in the past I've concentrated too much on the story at hand. It's really about just finishing the situation and then working on moving forward.
Okay, so from now on, as a person in management, we're going to continue the restorative justice that we already do, but what we want to do is actually encourage our teachers to actually take on the restorative justice role before it comes to us, so that kids get the opportunity to work through things in the classroom rather than actually having to come and see senior leadership for restorative justice.
I'm going to add a restorative element to everything we do each week so that it's at the top of people's minds and we keep referring to something that we're chasing.